can get that one done as we hop onto the Rift for game number 1 of the week. Ooh, DAMWON fans, very, very loud here in Lowell Park. Liiv SANDBOX fans around the world, I'm going to need you to lend your energy to those of the fans that are here at Lowell Park because they were just not quite as loud, and we can't have that. The tank battle towards the top side of the map. Jonas Strong probably just setting the stage for never looking at that lane ever again because it's likely not going to be too interesting. And, you know, unless we have some Noggery moments, he has found some pretty crazy options. As you can see, Noggery not even going for Ignite.
Yep.
He's just like, well, maybe we're just going to have to Arctic Assault Flash in a team fight later or something.
Also, what's even more interesting than that to me is Dom, of course, going heal, Bible having the Ignite. Like, they know how this lane is going to go. This is not going to be a cleansable situation. Like, yeah, you can cleanse, of course, the handshake, but you're in a position where if you're getting hit by handshakes, like, it's already kind of a problem. And having the heal and the Ignite allows you to duel and maybe get some counter gank kills with Canyon. And hopefully, Dom is going to be the recipient of those if that does occur. Because otherwise, this lane just becomes so doomed. And look at how Prince and Kyle are just going to play aggressively here and look for constant trading on this Kench.
Yeah. Already it's working out in their favor, as to be expected, of course. We're putting Prince in the has an advantage early game column. We're putting Dom in the has an advantage late game column. As we're checking out Bible and where he's been. Started off on Spear Gaming before moving over to DAMWON Kia Challenges. I remember Spear Gaming back in Challenger a little while ago. They're actually relatively impressive. As Bible's going to get his hand shook, and will now have to just chill underneath this turret.
Yeah.
Has Flash now on cooldown. Bad news, Best.
As we mentioned, it's usually the Tahm Kench who gets abused, not the Aphelios, because he has to kind of frontline, and Kalista loves that, and he's just going to be constantly hit by all of the damage that Kyle can add to this lane as well. So here comes an early gank.
Yeah, it's just going to be the
passing by,
left
see if I can get a flash. Yeah, not going to get one.
Oh, Dove. Some aggressive trading here on the top side of the map.
He knows Nuggery doesn't have Ignite, so, you know, that's going to allow him to, at these early levels, trade more aggressively, gets a level 3 advantage. But yeah, the bottom side here, going according to plan so far for Liiv SANDBOX.
Well, Dove's going to get some slightly deeper vision, as he didn't have a whole lot that he needed to do there towards that top side. Showmaker has played one game of Rise and actually suffered a defeat. Dom 7-1. On the Aphelios. That's why they priority picked this one so high up in the draft, as there is a flash forward from Kyle. Gets the flash out of Dom immediately afterwards.
Gets heal as well. Rough trade here, and that's just your Renata flashing. Doesn't matter as much because the follow-up ganks are going to be from a Vi. They don't necessarily need that hard engage when these mains are going to be crashing into turret. So feels like just a guaranteed summoner steal. Trading up here by Kyle. Now, this is the defensive options I was talking about here for Canyon, but he's getting pushed away. Vi nowhere near, but Canyon doesn't know that. So
yeah.
He does have to back away.
Yeah, back going to be started there for Prince. I like the aggressive move because, of course, Dom and Kellen, they can't give up the entire wave. So, therefore, not able to actually go for any sort of fight there. It is CS parity for Dom, so that is definitely good news. We'll see whether Prince can actually put on enough pressure to actually deny a little bit as this game goes on, because without Flash, of course, very, very difficult to move outside of your turret.
Yep. Scuttle picked up by Nuggery on the top side. So despite losing control bottom side there, they will be able to get this one. Now, this is something I mentioned because Canyon was willing to sacrifice that to look for a counter gank bottom side there and help defend that wave that was coming through. I think Canyon has very correctly identified how he has to play this game, which is really just kind of as often as possible making passes on the bottom side and looking for counter ganks. And he knows he could be topside now, of course, with the timing of Krako's clear. He won't be down there anytime soon. Dom and Bible use their summoners, so somewhat vulnerable in the 2v2, but again, if they play it passively, they can just stem the bleeding here, survive, like you said, maintain that CS parity that they have so far.
Yep, Winter's Wrath just being thrown around here as the little pebble not going to land onto Bristle, as we were in the top lane for quite a long time there, Wolf. It was a little bit of a worry.
Yeah, I was starting to get a little bit concerned. Our observers were interested in that.
Yeah, very, very strange situation. As Canyon's just going to move on in here, closer, shifting sands, gets himself out of the way as Canyon moves to where he needs to be, which is bottom side of the map. As Dr. taking a bit of damage here, does have Gravitum, so the setup is certainly going to be a possibility, but only level 5 for Showmaker, no Realm Warps to gain access.
I love how, notice how Kyle, you know, I'm not talking to the viewers, I'm talking to you, I'm just saying notice to the teams that haven't found as much success with us, so they're actually trying to hit the turret here. Notice that Prince and Kyle instantly back off to their control ward. As soon as they get close to the turret, they're not going to try to force this. They know Canyon could be nearby. They know level 6 is coming up for Showmaker. He just hit it. Why push it all the way? Just get small advantages, grab Drake. And you also have scaling in this draft. So you're just trying to limit the Aphelios' power here. And if they make a mistake, you punish them, you get kills, you grab 2 flashes early. But you don't have to hard force. You don't have to grab a plate in the 2v2. Just play it a little bit aggressively, but also respectfully. And that means that Canyon just can't do anything down here. He wants to be nearby. He just hasn't been able to make an impact just yet.
It also means that Croco can feel free to do whatever the heck he wants, right? Now he's got about a camp lead at this point in time, but he can be ganking mid, he can be ganking top, he can get around to wherever he wants because he can rely on his bottom lane to just naturally win. Especially if they keep tracking Canyon, which has been largely what their plan has been. Yeah, they had a control ward, and it's just now being cleared, but they had a control ward there for a very long time. Notice the setup here as well, how aggressively they guarantee that Kyle can hold this wave so Prince can catch it as he returns back. Has his Berserker Greaves upgraded, his Scepter is online. And they also had, the control of the mid lane during this time. They had the, Sentinel from Kalista checking to see where Canyon was. Like, he just had no opportunities, no options to come down there and make an impact on this lane. Yeah, he's got some defensive vision and did manage to collect the last Rift Scuttler, but like you say, I mean, Sentinels just patrolling the area. They don't have that control ward anymore. That one was actually cleared out, as Canyon was able to get a little bit of control, but he has to be on his top side because all of his camps have popped back up again, so it's going to be defensive time for DAMWON's bottom lane. Good news for them, the Devour will be online relatively soon. We're about halfway through level 5 right now, so Bible, with that defensive option, should be able to mitigate the fact that Dr. does not have his flash. Yeah. And it's likely that things will start getting a little bit better as Canyon looking for a potential dive. Showmaker's coming up as well. The Ornhorn will come down. Ulti's going to go wide, gets the knock up, but only onto the Monkey, and they haven't actually started this yet. They will eventually get in there as Nogri, Assault and Battery does come in. He has flash available. Croco's going to have to get out of there. No flash required, and they do just move on out. Good defensive play there from Liiv SANDBOX, even though they had to use 2 flashes. The timing here for DAMWON Kia on this is fantastic, though, because they've now taken away multiple flashes, the Ornhorn and the Vi ultimate before contest for Rift Herald. So the timing of this works out so beautifully for them. This is going to force a bigger reaction from Liiv SANDBOX. They're going to have to send their Renata and Kalista topside if they want to guarantee a fight here in their favor. So they can't do that, because then Aphelios, who has Crescendum, red and white guns, is going to take all the plates. This is DuckDom's MO. So now you've kind of forced this situation as DAMWON Kia where you're guaranteed to get a Rift Herald here. Feels amazing considering that this was such a prio setup for Liiv SANDBOX in the draft. One aggressive Realm Warp dive is all it takes. Doesn't get a kill. Yeah. It's a huge win for DAMWON Kia. I really like their use, like the ability to leverage that as well, because otherwise it just kind of looked like Showmaker headed top lane and then they didn't really get anything for it. But instead, Showmaker's able to get back to lane very quickly, and like you say, they actually play off the advantage in summoner spells and power that they have in order to guarantee the Rift Herald. They have not actually been able to secure this just yet. They're getting a little bit more prio here on the top side of the map. Canyon hits level 6, and the Emperor's Divide is still up for closer. So those are the 2 big ultimates we had for great team fights here for Liiv SANDBOX in the early game. On early objectives is of course, Ornhorn, the Call of the Forge God, and the Emperor's Divide. One of those is still up, so it's still a fairly decent fight. Now Vi's ultimate is back up here for Croco. And it looks like, even though I was trying to say this is the sickest big brain play, DAMWON Kia weren't actually able to, they weren't actually able to, I think, identify that they had such a really nice opportunity there to force a fight in their favor. Or maybe just respecting the fact that there is still a lot of power in this mid game for the Liiv SANDBOX roster. And now, obviously they forced Prince out of lane several times because he was like, I think they're going to fight for this. I'm going up. Then he comes back down, so he's lost some of his power there. And we'll just, with Nuggery over here, look to take this one away. Dove gets his ult in 1 second. It comes up right now, but it doesn't matter. They're not grouped for this, and they're just going to give it up. Yep. catching Croco on that bottom side, but I don't think they had any vision. I think they just thought that it was about time. They head over here and actually steal this one away. Blue buff is going to be the trade, as Croco will steal that one. But here, having a look at the bottom side, DWG will almost even out this farm. And with the way that he has been laning, certainly testament to him and his Aphelios, as Caliber and Trendum coming on through there, getting a bit of poke damage onto Prince.
Yeah, and this is kind of what Bible is very famous for. It's really similar to how Barrel and Ghost laned on old DAMWON. It's just like, all right, the pressure is elsewhere, and we're just going to sit down here and play weak side bottom. And yeah, he plays a lot of engaged champions. He likes his Leona, he likes his Rakan, but still, in a lane like this with the Tahm Kench, where you're just trying to make sure you don't fall behind, he's doing a great job here. Did have to flash early, but I like that. Show the respect, play it up later. It's going to lead to a 2 Drake lead, so I still really like Liiv SANDBOX's power in this game because they have a 2 Drake advantage. They can force a solo point fight here before DWG gets to his item spike later. The Kalista is going to have a much larger window of time here to be fighting over that Drake, where she's going to be at the advantage in terms of the AD carries. They still have those mid-game ultimates. And like a 0-0 kill score right now isn't a huge win for DAMWON. If it's looking like this in 10 minutes, though, then you're starting to feel pretty good.
This is a fantastic tempo move from DWG here, as they will try to grab first brick, and they might be able to even get there. This minion wave is very, very large, but isn't going to be allowed to crash. And Prince is very strong. They are going to respect him still. Bunch of plate gold going over to DWG there towards the top side as Dove teleports back towards that bottom lane. Another Sentinel to fly through here as DWG with some Graviton could be setting up for something, but they don't know quite where Croco is, and we do now, as he does move on over, and a lot of respect being given here by this DWG bottom lane. Man, it's intense. I can't believe there hasn't been a first blood. It's a Liiv SANDBOX game.
I mean, the threat of dive onto an Ornn is very strong at getting a flash in an Ornn ultimate, but it usually doesn't lead to a kill, and that's the really big commitment we've seen this game, was DWG looking for the Realm Warp play there. And they got his ult, they got his flash, but now both are back up. Led to a Rift Herald, didn't lead to massive plate gold for Aphelios until he made that lane swap temple play topside. It's not the biggest win for him in the world. It's not as big as we normally see DWG get ahead, but he's playing into a Kalista lane. He's not going to be the one making the calls. He's just going to be seeing what he can find, and he does find several plates here topside.
Yep, able to get a bit of money back. That's why you can see that DWG have a 1,000 gold lead. Yeah, it's purely because a few of these plates have fallen down. A lot of them going over to Nuggery. I think he's got 3 under his belt now.
Yeah, and picked up the one bottom side as Closer has not been able to look for a big ultimate yet this game. They 100% know he's here. Showmaker does have his Realm Warp available, so this could be a trap.
Yeah, bit of greed here. There's the flash handshake as the Assault and Battery comes through. It's a phenomenal devour, though, as in goes Canyon, finds a 3-man knock-up. Closer looks for the Emperor's Divide, but gets nothing for it, and now Showmaker's here for the cleanup. The bailout does come through. Closer just barely misses out as the Tahm Kench does fall, and it's a 1-for-1.
Should be a turret going over to DWG as well. Now, might be a plate for Dove in the mid lane, funny as it is. They're going to try to dive further.
Yeah, red-white don't fight, and that's why DWG want to fight, and why Liiv SANDBOX are getting the heck out of here. That's another plate that is going to go over to Dove, but a full turret dying before the plates fall down with DWG on Aphelios in the vicinity.
Yeah, well, now if the bailout was not as good as it was, this would have been amazing for DWG. It's still pretty good for them, as Ornn picking up 2 plates as they fall is not as significant as what DWG were able to get out of this. Also taking this turret away feels great. Okay, we're going to have to hold our breaths here. But they fell right into DWG's trap there on the top side.
Yeah, they really did. Nuggery is also just chilling out on a ward, so nothing really going to happen here unless Liiv SANDBOX wants it to. Showmaker going for a back. So, as we go for a bit of a reset, let's have a look at this replay one more time.
Bible has Devour, so even though this looks fairly risky to be this far up, Croco's here. He could just pull the Aphelios out of danger. The Renata ult completely whiffs as a result. Then Realm Warp comes over. Closer, also not the greatest Emperor's Divide here. Canyon gets massive value with his Cyclone. Closer does, of course, get bailout value here, but not going to be enough in the end to actually trade back big. They get 2 plates for Dove in the mid lane. But this was a really beautifully set up trap for DWG with the Tahm Kench, with the Realm Warp available, and obviously Canyon there ready to Cyclone.
Yeah, and Canyon really just getting around that Emperor's Divide very comfortably. I think one of the biggest problems there was the fact that Close, he got some flashes, but wasn't actually able to do anything positive as far as how the fight actually went.
Yeah, it doesn't actually scoop a set of players and, you know, set up for a big trade back kill, unfortunately. Good reactions there from the side of DAMWON Kia. And this is the Soul Point fight we were talking about. This is the Gale Force versus the Immortal Shieldbow Kalista angle, where you have an Azir still, you have an Ornn. Team fighting here around the mid-game so difficult for the Aphelios on paper. Let's then get a nice flank angle with Sejuani. And this is exactly where Liiv SANDBOX want to be. They want to win this fight, grab that Soul Point, and have ultimate tempo over the rest of this game. If DAMWON Kia can turn this now into their favor and stop that Drake track to 3, then they're actually going to feel amazing about their ability to now scale up, get Doc Dom to that second item. It's a huge turning point in this game.
No, I agree. Canyon's going to move on over, start clearing out vision where he can find it. Will he get trapped by Croco, though, is going to be the question. As Project Vi is setting up. Get something happening. Showmaker rotating over, does have Realm Warp available and Ghost Ignite right now with his unsealed spellbook.
And his crown is still up, so, you know, he's going to be Battle Rise in this fight. He is looking to do the damage.
Yeah, well, the Drake has been started. DAMWON Kia do not want to give this one away. Sand Soldier's now in position as Nogari's just going to walk his way in. There's the Realm Warp. Is going to deliver Canyon and Showmaker into this fight as Canyon gets into the pit, but isn't able to secure the Drake. Can they find the fight that was closer? Hits one with his Emperor's Divide, but once again, the Devourer is amazing here from Bible. He will go down. It's a double kill for Prince. Are the Ren sets at the ready as Kyle trying to land this one. Doc Dom's just going to get smashed down by Croco. Nogari is very, very close to fall. And now Showmaker finds himself alone with nothing that he can do about the situation. They lose the Drake and they massively lose the team fight.
Yeah, this was not even the greatest setup of ultimates here for Liiv SANDBOX, so DAMWON Kia still just can't win this fight because their champions don't spike at this moment in time. The Aphelios isn't able to really do safe damage. Bible's trapped, the Ren stacks are coming, and watch Prince in this fight too. Well, first we'll watch the beginning of this where unfortunately the Realm Warp here is not really shut down very well. The Renata ultimate whiffs, the Ornhorn's not great, but look at the pit. Prince is like, oh, you guys think you're on top of me? Canyon's in here? No. I am Kalista, what's up? And Bible goes down here, and this fight is already won. Doc Dom can't do anything here at this point in time. And Nogari, he's like, maybe I could peel for them if they come in, but you don't have a health bar either. And Showmaker walks out. Yeah, he's got 2 kills now in this game, but you have given Soul Point now. You've given Kalista 2 kills, and Liiv SANDBOX got everything they wanted in this fight. Renata, Kalista, pretty strong.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Ginsu's Rageblade is almost finished off here for Prince as well. And man, the interaction with the bailout as well as the Kalista threatening with these Rens and the fact that you're basically immortal as you're starting to stack them up, assuming the bailout timing is really nice. It's really hard to even focus the Kalista.
Yeah, because she also gets, even during the bailout itself, she can auto several times. We've talked about this countless times.
Yeah.
You and me, like, we've had so many games where we watch the Renata and Kalista dominate the lane, dominate these early team fights, but this is just one of those great examples of why it's strong. And, you know, while you're in the bailout gray health, you continue to stack, and then you just decide when you want to come back to life.
Yeah. And it's a really interesting conversation as far as late game is concerned as well, just because that interaction does mean that Prince will have a lot of extra staying power in the later stages of the game. Unless something goes horribly wrong, of course. But Doc Dom still has the 200 years situation here as Prince. He's going to be absolutely fine. Just the hostile takeover is going to mitigate any sort of dive attempt.
Yeah, that was hopeful, I think, from DAMWON Kia. Even if the hostile takeover isn't used instantly like that, diving this turret would have been very ill-advised at this stage. Closer was not there, I guess, so no Emperor's Divide defensively is Nuggery.
Yeah, Croco is going to find the Assault and Battery really nicely here. Doc Dom doesn't even want to try and take this one. As Nuggery very happy that he took Flash on the Sejuani this time, and Croco will let him live.
Yeah, Croco doesn't know what's on the other side there, so decides not to Flash for the kill. But, I mean, the way that Vi's kit works and the armor reduction, like, Sejuani doesn't feel tanky, actually, in a 1v1 like this. And all the while, Azir gets top turret, so this is a really nice play from Croco. He prevents any rotations top side to actually save that turret. He gets a ton of extra gold put in his pocket. Now his Shadow Flame is online. And man, Liiv SANDBOX are just playing the macro aspect of this game pretty well too. Like, there was that one hiccup, obviously, where Duck Dom was able to get some plate gold topside. But beyond that, they know exactly the spikes they want to hit. They know exactly the parts of the map they want to be at. And it's never just, oh, man, Closer got away with it, though he was set up to get away with it. You know, there was just no counterplay there. Nuguri is caught.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's just coming up Liiv SANDBOX in this game. It's Showmaker that really has a lot on his shoulders. He is alone right now. And is sort of going to have to be that lone carry here, at least until Doctarm can get another couple of items under his belt. 3 items is, of course, when you're most happy. 2 does make you feel a little bit better, but yeah, I think we're looking for a bit more. 2 makes you feel better when it's not when you have the second one that your opponent has a third one, which is kind of the trajectory we are on. If you're 2 versus 2, you feel pretty good as the Aphelios, but he is significantly behind in farm as well because he just hasn't had any ability to farm under turret this game outside of the early parts. All these turrets falling so early on, and now Liiv SANDBOX are happy to take 4 for 4 Drakes, and honestly, it's Ocean Soul. DAMWON Kia probably looking to let this one go at this point, and it really is unfortunate to give it up, but you're not running a poke comp. But if you lose this fight, if you get wiped, the game ends. Don't know if this is the right move for DAMWON to try to force. Well, Handshake is going to hit a decoy. Do manage to get a Volt Breaker out. Huge cooldown there. And a Handshake. Fantastic stuff. Liiv SANDBOX, soul control. I mean, there is, pardon the pun. As Showmaker is going to rotate down. This Drake is all but secured, though, as you can see. In goes. Oh my god, the hostile takeover was amazing. Canyon not able to find a Cyclone whatsoever. Emperor's Divide is once again going to deliver the catfish as Showmaker has to flash away from Croco. Doctarm could not do anything, and DAMWON Kia just standing in a choke point, and they get wrecked. I mean, there's just no reason to fight for this. Yeah, it's Soul. If it's Infernal Soul, yeah, you gotta fight for that no matter what. If it's Mountain Soul, you gotta fight for that no matter what. If it's Hextech Soul, you gotta fight for that no matter what. But it's Ocean Soul. Just let it go, because now you give Ocean Soul and Baron and control of the map. Elder's coming up in 5 minutes' time. You just give this up, contest for Baron, and just wait it out. You maybe get a Miracle Elder fight where you actually turn the game at that moment, but now I don't think that moment is ever going to come. Yeah. And you're fighting into all of these AoE ultimates. This is why I said this comp is so strong in mid-game, because you have Orenhorn, you have Renata, you have Emperor's Divide. Look at the attempt here for Canyon to come in and do anything. He has to split off, flash out. The fight is over at that moment, like the Drake is won, but then Closer says, I'm going to take 2 with me. And he just goes for the Emperor's Divide play, flashes for it, grabs 2. Easy team fight win. DAMWON Kia had no agency in that fight whatsoever, and it's Collector who's being, is being built here from Doctarm, but he didn't have it at that moment in time. And I don't know if it would have made a difference either with the setup and the prio that Liiv SANDBOX had. I think it was a poor call here for DAMWON Kia. Well, Closer is just going to shift some sands to get himself out. Dove thinking about just trying to steal away some popcorn chicken. He can do that, as he is a very big Ornn right now. Starting to deliver some of these ornaments as well as Canyon dashing forward. A lot of Liiv SANDBOX are here and available. Emperor's Divide going to come down yet again. Double knockup does come through as Bible has to get the Devour off onto Canyon. That is a huge cooldown that can no longer be there to save the carries of DAMWON Kia, and they are well and truly on the ropes. So it looks like DAMWON has no idea what they're supposed to do here. And it's top turret going to be going over to Prince here after he takes away these Krugs, it looks like, to try to decide who gets the top turret, as he's got a wave crashing through. Baron's still up for a minute 40. It's like DAMWON Kia were contesting Vision for a Baron that they lost to Liiv SANDBOX while they were in the Death Chamber. Yeah. They almost actually got wiped there out that far. Well, we've got a big engage to come through here. Showmaker's going to turn up by himself. Bible is going to be there as well. Closer goes golden, though. It's a decent Cyclone, but they're going to use it defensively as the hostile takeover hits a clone. And as you can see, Bible is well and truly off on his own. He's going to get his hand shook before he is taken down and sent back towards that Death Chamber one more time. And Liiv SANDBOX will just follow the remainder of DAMWON Kia into their base and start wreaking havoc. In 2021, DAMWON Kia taking fights like this, we would have been like, look at them go. They were so far behind. They just lost Soul, and they win the team fights swimmingly. Not with this comp, and not today. You know, they're forcing 2 fights that go very poorly, while the win condition is okay, we need to buy time, we need to survive, we need to get this Aphelios with 3 items by any means necessary before that Elder spawns, and they're taking fights and giving Liiv SANDBOX more control over the map. Now, that may have bought them just enough time to keep these inhibitors alive, which is a small victory here. But look at the defensive setup here. They have Sun Disc. Realm Warp comes through. It's Azir. It's Ornn. Croco's there. Showmaker's like, oh, I made the wrong call going into that Realm Warp. And the Bible's like, where are you guys going? This is a fair. I thought we were going in. Yeah. And also Canyon looked like he was in the Realm Warp there. It was very, very weird. He was like off right to the edge, trying to be in the right position to instantly Cyclone, and then he just got left behind. It was very, very weird. Maybe, you know, from the other perspective, because we were a bit zoomed out, it looked a little bit different on my screen, but I think the play was deliver the monkey as well as the Rise. That did not, however, work out very well.
Yeah, the Rise should also be able to survive through the Cyclone with the crown that he has, obviously in the Zonias that's built up now, but sadly unable to do so, and this team fight win for Liiv SANDBOX just guarantees they get mid inhib, and now you're really just bleeding out as DAMWON Kia because the Callista is so fed that Aphelios' 3-item spike, again, is just not really equivalent to where Callista is this game. And Dom is 2 levels behind. Like, it just isn't it. Like, we can talk about scaling all we want, but it's really only the Rise that is actually part of the conversation this game. And he has so much CC he has to deal with. The Crown isn't going to defend him against that now. If he has a perfect Zonias, the follow-up Aphelios ult is there. Like, there's a miracle team fight maybe. But man, 7,000 gold behind here. DAMWON Kia taking, I think, so many wrong fights this game.
Yeah, giving up every single Drake as well. As you can see, Liiv SANDBOX have had an absolute monopoly on that. They're getting towards a possible Exodia in 2 minutes' time. As this Elder in 1 minute and 10 seconds, like, do you try and go for that soul fight again as DAMWON Kia? You have to fight for an Elder, otherwise you'll lose the game. But I still, like, look at the vision for Liiv SANDBOX. How does DWG Kia ever get in there and avoid a choke point that Liiv SANDBOX love fighting around?
Exactly. If they had just been willing to give up the Ocean Soul, which has made no impact this game, if they had just been willing to give up the Ocean Soul and just wait it out, try to lane, use their wave clear, and they would not be 7,000 gold behind with a Baron buff crashing into their mid inhibitor, which is also down. And then maybe they could take a fair fight here. This is what I think should have been the call. And a lot of teams, you know, that are lower part of the standings know exactly what to do here. DWG Kia, you know, it's been a rough few weeks for them, but it's like DWG Kia, T1 Genji. Sometimes you forget what it's like to be behind. And it feels like in this game, DWG are like, no, we win this fight. No, you do not. Unfortunately, not against this iteration of Liiv SANDBOX.
And also the way this draft has been working out as well, it just feels like Liiv SANDBOX have had the answer to everything at every single turn. And now that we get to this stage, it's like DWG Kia handshook on low range, and now they're just weaker. And so where are the outs? You just don't have much of an answer. Like, the engage range from Dove on this is just gigantic, and when you don't have the range available, it can be really hard. Is it time for a Hail Mary Realm Warp?
Too late.
No, it's just not going to happen. DAMWON should be able to move past the river, but Dove is going to say absolutely not. There's the flash forward. Kyle looks for the handshake, but doesn't get it. Hostile takeover also does nothing. As Liiv SANDBOX are trying to force pretty hard here, and I think the size of their wallets may definitely help out. As, okay, Croco diving on forward, does manage to find the ult and will take down the Catfish, and now Nogger is trying to run away. Canyon should be able to make it out of here, but honestly, like, what is DWG going to do after they've finished running away?
Where are you going, DWG?
Oh, dear.
Well, yeah, that's going to be a Baron.
Yeah, they're going to lose the Baron is what's going to happen. Closer and Prince, eyes on the prize.
And
right here.
If Aphelios ends up dying here, which is very likely, the Death Climber lines up with Liiv SANDBOX taking the game right here.
Well, DWG's going to see whether he can kill Croco, as Noggery's going to come over here as well. Okay, they don't have a lot of their damage right here. It's Croco and Dove and Kyle. So Kyle's going to go down. DWG is going to have to, give up because he's going to be eaten by a Dragon Canyon. Same thing going to be happening to him. And yeah, you managed to get a kill onto the support, DWG Kia, but I think now you probably lose the game.
Yeah, the Nexus is the trade that Liiv SANDBOX will take with this Baron buff. Teleport.
Good old Renata for Nexus trade.
Yeah, my favorite ripoff.
Yeah, you hate to see it. Really got scammed. I don't know who the salesman was, but definitely a shady figure. As this second Nexus turret will be taken down, and Liiv SANDBOX, some utter revenge against DWG Kia in this particular game. Remember the stats. I mean, Liiv SANDBOX have not beaten DWG Kia in a very, very long time. And this, in game number 1 at least, was extraordinarily convincing. As we'll have to just keep up the platitudes, Wolf. We just need to keep saying words. Wait, are they even going to win? Emperor's Divide says no more Catfish. 0-6 for Bible. Not exactly the debut you want to see, but oh my god, Close's damage is absurd. They still also have the Elder Drake buff, as Prince is going to go golden, says, kill the Nexus quick before I die, and he is going to be able to do so. Look at that. Oh my goodness.